Hello, this is the April 2011 video edition of the Iowa General Fund Monthly Revenue Memo. I am Jeff Robinson, Senior Fiscal Analyst for the Iowa Legislative Services Agency, the nonpartisan support agency of the Iowa Legislature. This video covers the month of April 2011 and the first 10 months of cash fiscal year 2011, July through April. Net revenue for the month of April was $41.5 million below April 2010. A decline of 11.2%. Net revenue has now posted declines in 2 consecutive months after increasing 8.7% for the prior 6 months. On a positive side, in April, individual income withholding tax continues its strong performance, indicating employment and wage gains are continuing in Iowa. Payments with individual income tax returns also increased in April. To the negative, corporate income tax deposits fell sharply and accounted for 1/2 of the overall net revenue decrease this month. Tax refunds, and in particular individual income tax refunds, also contributed greatly to the month's decline. Since the tax processing season continues through May and into early June, the full tax refund story is still not known. Several non-tax issues also were a drag on growth in April. An unclaimed property fund transfer occurred in March this year instead of April. Fee revenue associated with Department of Commerce activities also contributed to the negative comparisons. Finally, April 30th fell on a weekend in 2011. Last year, $32 million was deposited on April 30th. Year-to-date, net revenue growth is up 4% on a cash basis, about 1 percentage point below the latest official revenue estimate, with transfer revenue excluded. This translates to about $41 million, an amount that could easily be explained by the April calendar differences mentioned earlier. Despite the slowdown in the most recent 2 months, gross personal income tax and sales and use tax revenue remain strong for the year. Let's first have a look at net receipts by month over the most recent 13 months. For the following charts, revenue increase months are colored blue, decrease months are red. The first chart shows that April's $41.5 million decline is the second negative month in a row, and the negative $41.5 million is the largest monthly decrease since May 2010. Personal income tax was positive for the month, but sales and use tax, corporate tax, and tax refunds all were negatives compared to last April. Personal income tax revenue is the most significant source of general fund revenue, and it has now been positive for 11 straight months. Withholding tax payments continue to provide good growth, indicating that employment and wage gains continue. April's decline in sales and use tax revenue is the first in 9 months, and likely the result of April 2011 ending on a weekend. This calendar event pushed enough sales and use tax deposits out of April and into May to turn an otherwise positive month negative. Corporate tax revenue has now decreased 3 straight months and has been down 6 of the past 7. April's drop was significant, but corporate tax revenue last April showed a large increase, so perhaps this April's deposit was just more normal. For the cash year, gross corporate tax revenue is 11% below last year, and that is significantly below expectations. February, March, and April tax refund totals have all shown increases, providing a noticeable drag on net general fund receipts. Although the timing of refund issuance always produces volatility in the year-over-year comparisons, it does now appear that refunds will exceed projections for the fiscal year. This table, from the front of the printed General Fund Monthly Revenue Memo, computes how net revenues are doing compared to the most recent revenue estimate. That estimate calls for 4.99% growth over fiscal year 2010's $5.49 billion. Year-to-date, revenue is up $175.9 million, and that calculates to 4.0% growth, and in dollar terms, $41.6 million below projections. With $274.3 million in growth needed for the entire year to meet projections, the $175.9 figure leaves about $98 million in additional growth before the books close. In summary, April revenue was down more than 11% compared to the previous April, and that now makes 2 negative growth months in a row. A significant factor in the April decrease, however, was the fact that the month ended on a weekend, pushing deposits into May. The main drivers of general fund revenue, namely individual income tax and sales and use tax, remain nicely positive year-to-date. The fiscal drag is coming from decreased corporate income tax deposits and increased tax refunds. Year-to-date, net revenue growth has faded below the most recent revenue estimate, and that will bear watching as the fiscal year works to a close. April ended with significant unknown negatives that could reverse during the month of May. I thank you for your interest in Iowa General Fund revenue, and please check out the next monthly video memo in early June.